Shalom, shalom, peace, peace. Jadiel from the Fourth Angels Learning Center. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. This is our part 2 of the second angel's message. All right. So part 1, I believe, was very significant because we don't want to make a video so long where, we're breaking down every single element rather than allowing you time to go back, look into it, study it, put the pieces together for yourself as well, confirm it for yourself. So today we're going to be dissecting who the beast is, and we're gonna not who the beast is, who the woman is. And what we're going to do is we're going to combine part 2 with part 1 and fill in the blanks. Okay, so that way it could be a clear message. We're going to go back, we're going to take what we learned today, and we're going to go back to the verses that we touched on in the last video. So with that being said, let's start. And if the Fourth Angels Learning Center have been a blessing to you, we ask if you consider to bless us. If you would like to bless our ministry and support us, you can support us at 4alc.com. You can also support us at Cash App, which is $4ALC Bless. That's 4ALCBLESS. All right. So now, this may take a while because it's dealing with the symbols of Revelation, and I want to kind of make it clear because this is something very important as far as who is Babylon, and things like that. So this is definitely involving more elements than just Babylon, and we're going to look at that right now. So let's go to let's do a recap, right? Revelation 14. Doing a recap of what this message is saying, right? So we have the first angel's message preached to every nation. This what's being preached, fear Yah, what that means, give glory to him, what that means. The hour of his judgment is come, meaning it's a manifestation that this is the last days. This message is almost complete. After this, there's no other chances. Not only to understand that, but to worship him, to revere him instead of all these other things, instead of yourself, instead of your money, instead of people, to worship him that made heaven and earth, the sea, and the fountains of water. Now, what we talked about in the last video was that this message reveals, it exposes who Babylon is, why they are fallen, why Babylon is fallen. And we went to Second Thessalonians chapter 2, as well as Romans chapter 1 to describe why they are fallen. They're called Babylon because they are influencing the whole earth to work together in this one thing, which is to oppose Yah. and Second Thessalonians teaches us that it's also opposing his law. We did the study on the first angel and broke down how giving glory to him is a manifestation of obedience to his commandments. So the idea that falling away is also a manifestation, according to Second Thessalonians chapter 2, of the revelation of the lawless man, the man of lawlessness. Romans chapter 1 teaches us that they're going to twist the truth, change the truth into a lie, and worship the creature rather than the creator. So in Second Thessalonians, you have the falling away, removing of the law, and then the worshiping of this man as if he's Elohim. Very specific, very specific. And it's talking about the same hour of his judgment. It's talking about the last days. So now that we're looking at this, we see how they are falling away from his truth, opposing his truth to the point where they're purposely making all the nations to drink this particular wine, to cause their sober-mindedness, cause their awareness, cause their sight to be turned into darkness, to be blinded. And we see clearly that this is just what things are. It's more popular to be in darkness. Isaiah chapter 60 says, let's look at that. Isaiah chapter 60 warns us. Verse 2, darkness shall cover the earth, and worse darkness the people. But Yah will rise on you, and his glory shall be seen on you. Remember, glory, give glory to him. It'll be seen on you in a world full of darkness and dark people. So it's very, very, sobering for us to understand what is these doctrines and what last days group of people is manifesting this wine that's polluting all the nations. Well, we already said in part one that what they did was they took the truth. Now you can't fall away unless you was once standing with. If you was standing with Yah, then you can fall away. But if you was over there worshiping an idol, if you was over there reading another book, or you was over there learning philosophy, you're not with Yah to fall away. So you have to be with him in order to fall away. You have to be lawful in order to become lawless. If you don't have the law, then you're not um, you know, moving away from Yah. You've never been with him. So this is talking about a group of people that's taking Yah's word, that's taking the scriptures, twisting it, changing it into a lie, and then giving it to the nations to drink. And we're gonna see right now who that is. Let's look at a little bit more of a description. We see that this her, right? This her, the wrath of her fornication. This woman is referred to here as the great prostitute, a great whore. Let's look at Revelation 17. We're going to start from verse 1. Look at what it says. Then there came one of the seven angels that had the seven vials, and he talked to me, saying, come here, and I will show you the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters. Waters, whore that sits upon many waters. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. Now, the kings is a representation of politics, political, government. So the governments of the earth have committed fornications. And then it says, and the inhabitants of the earth, which is the nations, the groups of people, the religious groups, have been made drunk by the wine of her fornication. So the government has united with this woman, and the inhabitants of the earth is being drunk by whatever they're teaching, whatever they're twisting up and feeding to the people, taking the scriptures and twisting it up and showing it to them. It says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Scarlet colored beast. We're going to look at that aspect. So a woman sitting on a beast. I want to be more simple before I break down all these elements. It says the woman was arrayed in purple, scarlet color, decked in gold, precious stones, pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations, filthiness of her fornication. Upon her head was the name Mystery Babylon. Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, the abominations of the earth. Now, remember what we talked about in the other video, where we saw that Babylon was a great city, meaning that it was a large population of people. It just wasn't just one guy or one group of people. It was a multitude of different groups of people, which is why they were referred to as a great city. Look at what it says here. It says that this woman is the mother of other harlots, that there's other harlots that's also involved in committing fornication with the kings of the earth and giving the inhabitants of the world wine. So there's other harlots involved with Babylon, just as we saw in Genesis 11. Nimrod was the king, and when he was developing his kingdom, it was a group of people. The whole earth was speaking in the same language. It was a group of people that came together to build this city, to build this tower, to oppose Yah and to avoid his judgment, to avoid his scattering, right? So we see that this woman Babylon that we saw, Babylon is fallen. This woman Babylon is a mother of other harlots. other unfaithful supposed women. So this particular influence takes Yah's word, twists it, as we read in Romans chapter 1, changes the truth into a lie, and then exalts itself and says, according to Second Thessalonians chapter 2, the lawless man, look at me, I'm Elohim, worship me. So who this let's continue to look at this. And I saw a woman drunk with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And I saw her and I wondered at in great admiration. Then it says, and the angel said to me, wherefore do you marvel? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. Very important description. The woman and the beast that carries her. What's a beast? Let's look at let's go to the book of Daniel. So when you go to Daniel chapter 7, interesting thing is that there's 4 beasts that rise out of the waters. So look at this, the great whore that sits on many waters, Revelation 17:1. Let's go to Daniel chapter 7. We're going to see the same elements, but we're going to be able to locate the definition, the meaning behind those things. Okay, where are we? Daniel chapter 1. Each beast raises out of water. We see that here. Verse 2. I saw in a night vision, behold, 4 winds of heaven strove upon the great sea, and 4 great beasts came out up from the sea, diverse from one another. I want to fast forward this. So the sea is where these beasts are coming out of. So what is a beast according to Revelation? According to Daniel, look at what it says here. Daniel chapter 7, looking at verse 17. It says, these great beasts are, which are 4 kings which shall rise out of the earth. And then it says here, then I would know the truth of the 4th beast, which was diverse from all the others, right? So the 4th beast, which it says here in verse 23, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all the other kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth and tread it down and break into pieces. What is this 4th beast? Who is this 4th beast? This 4th beast, I'm gonna fast forward. We're gonna break this down in another video, but this 4th beast is Rome. What are the characteristics of Rome? Rome consumes and devours, right? What does it say? It says here, I would know the truth of the 4th beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth was of iron, nails of brass, which devoured, breaking to pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. What it did was it consumed, not only did it consume the environment, it consumed the culture. Roman, in the very beginning of their empire, the Roman Empire was considered the Greco-Roman era because they adopted not only the agriculture, the architecture, but they also adopted the belief system of the nations that it consumed. And most nations did the same thing. When Nebuchadnezzar was in rulership, when Daniel, in the book of Daniel, when Nebuchadnezzar was trying to understand certain things, he captured all the wise men from all these different nations that believed all these different things, and he put them all together in Babylon, and he used them as his advisors. So this is what nations did. They consumed one another, and then we see here that this 4th beast is consuming everything else. So 4 beasts in this earth. Daniel starts out referring to Babylon as the first kingdom. Now we see in the book of Daniel, we also see when the second kingdom came about as well. But let's look at certain elements real quick before we focus on who is this beast carrying this woman. Look at the description of the first beast. The first was like a lion, right? I just want to focus on this aspect, the animal aspect. A lion had eagle's wings. I beheld the wings that were plucked off. It was lifted up from the earth, made to stand on the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. I beheld another beast, a second, like a bear, right? Look at this. And I beheld, lo, another, the third one, like a leopard. And it had 4 wings and 4 heads. And then it says, in the night visions, I saw the fourth beast. It was dreadful and terrible. So let's look at this. Babylon was the first kingdom, which was a lion. Persia, which we see in the book of Ezra, the book of Nehemiah, Medo-Persia. We see in the book of Daniel how the Persian king came, Darius or Cyrus, came and took over Babylon, the bear. And then we have the leopard who consumed the Persians. It was the Greeks. And we're going to see that in the next chapter. And then we have the fourth beast. Who consumed the Greeks? It was the Romans. Matter of fact, right after the Greeks, in the book of Maccabees, you see the Greeks polluting Jerusalem. Right after that, in the New Testament, you see the Romans are in power. So we have all these powers in the scripture. So the fourth beast, it says, the fourth beast devours the whole earth. The fourth beast devours the whole earth. And the fourth beast is Rome. So the lion, the bear, and the leopard, I want you to keep this in mind. Because Rome, like I said, adopts and it consumes and it adopts all the things, all the attributes of these other kingdoms and applies it to themselves. So it's not just, just Romans, they came up with all, no, they copied. They may have renamed certain things, but they basically copied everything that they took. So the beast represents a kingdom. The beast represents a kingdom. And we know that the Greeks took over Persia because in Daniel chapter 8, it talks about 2 more beasts. It talks about 2 more beasts. It says, and he came to the ram, right? So matter of fact, verse 5, it says, Daniel 8, verse 5, as I was considering, behold, a he-goat, a goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, touched not the ground, and the goat had a notable horn in his eyes. And he came to the ram. So we have a goat and a ram. The ram had 2 horns. We're going to break this down even more deeper in another study focused on these beasts. It says that the goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken. So it says here, the goat waxed very great. Why? Because in verse 7, it says that I saw him come close to the ram, and he was moved with choler against him and smote the ram. So the goat with the 1 horn smote the ram with the 2 horns, and he broke his 2 horns. There was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground and stamped on him. And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand, out of the goat's hand. So this kingdom could not deliver itself from this next kingdom, the goat. Now the goat, it says the great horn was broken, and it came to 4 notable ones that was in heaven. Let's fast forward, just so we could understand who are these beasts. It says the ram which you saw with the 2 horns are the kings of Medo-Persia. The 2 horns, the ram was Media and Persia, and it was 2 horns. And look at the description of these 2 horns. You guys got to check this out. Look at this description of these 2 horns, right? It says here in verse 3, I lifted up my eyes and I saw, behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns. The 2 horns were high, but one horn was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. In Daniel chapter 7, we said that the bear was the very next empire after Babylon, the lion, and that the bear was Medo-Persia. So the ram had 2 horns, one went up higher than the other. Look at the description of the bear in verse 5. It says, behold, another beast, second like a bear, and it raised up itself on one side and had 3 ribs in his mouth, in the mouth of it between its teeth. And they said unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. So one side of the bear was raised up higher than the other, just as in uh, um, Daniel 8, verse 3, it says, one horn was higher than the other. This was the kingdom, according to verse 20. This was the kingdom of Media Persia, just as the bear. Now, watch this, another correlation. The rough goat that you saw with the big horn was the king of Greece, was the kingdom of Greece. And the horn that was on his eyes was the first king. Who was the first king of Greece? Alexander the Great. It says here that horn was broken. Alexander the Great died. And what did he do? If you look this up, you'll see that when Alexander died, he split the kingdom into four, gave it to his four generals. Look at what it says about the horn. It broke, and it says, whereas four stood up on it, four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, out of Greece. It will be divided in four, but it won't be as strong as when Alexander was there. Now, this four horns, remember, we said that the leopard was Greece, that Greece took over Persia, right? Let's look at this again. Lion, Babylon, bear, Medio Persia, with the one side above the other, just like the ram. And now the goat is Greece with the horn that broke into four. So the leopard has to be Greece, right? So look what it says. After this, I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which was upon his back four wings of a fowl, and the beast which had four heads, and dominion was given to it. Dominion was given to who? The heads, the four heads. So the four heads, when you go to Daniel 8, you see that the kingdom of Greece, when the Alexander the Great died, he broke his kingdom up into, divided into four. The horn was divided into four, and it was given dominion to those four horns. Clear. So after Greece, this fourth beast is Rome. But Revelation gives us a little bit more insight. So there's a beast that the woman sits in. The woman sits in this beast. Let me show you how this beast right here, this fourth beast, consumed the leopard, the bear, and the lion. Let's go to Revelation chapter 13. I want you guys to see this. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, verse 1, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea. Again, the beast coming out of the water. We're going to look at that. Having 7 heads. So this terrible beast has 7 heads and 10 horns. And upon his horns, 10 crowns, and upon his heads, the name of blasphemies. Does that match with the fourth beast in Daniel chapter 7? Let's check. Because we matched up. Babylon is the lion. Persia is the bear. Right? Greece is the leopard. So let's see. Is Rome the fourth beast with the 7 heads and 10 horns? Let's look at it. It says, and I saw in the night visions, behold, the fourth beast, dreadful, terrible, strong exceedingly. It had great iron teeth, and it devoured and broke into pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the other beasts which were before it. And it says it had 10 horns. I considered the horns. Behold, there came up among them a little horn. So it had 10 horns on this beast. This beast had 10 horns on it, just as we see in Revelation. Revelation 3, this beast rises out of the sea and has 10 horns, but it also has 7 heads. Now, watch with this. It says, the beast which I saw was like a leopard. So the body of this beast was like a leopard. Who's the leopard? Daniel 7, we learned that the leopard is Greece. So it looks like a Greek type of empire. And if you look at the Romans and the Greeks, they look identical. The feet of it was like a bear. We just looked at Daniel 7. The bear was the Medes and the Persians. What was so crazy about the Medes of the Persians? The Medes and the Persians were some terrible group. They did things in flanks. Like they had such a large army that they would just flood an area. They didn't even care who could fight or whatever it was. They just flooded the area with so much people in their army. They just consumed these countries. And then it says it has a mouth of a lion, meaning it speaks like Babylon. It makes declarations like Babylon. It says, and the dragon gave him his power, and then it says his seat and great authority. The power gave him a seat. So this beast has all the elements of the three beasts, and it has the 10 horns like the fourth beast, but it's given us more description. This fourth beast, the dragon, put a seat on him and gave him authority. So the woman sitting on this seat that the dragon gave this beast. So this kingdom is Rome. So who's the woman that sits in Rome? Who's the woman that sits in Rome? Let me. So anyway, let's look at a little bit more description, right? Look at verse 5. It says, there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things, blasphemies. Power was given to him to continue for 40 and 2 months. We're going to discuss that later on. So this particular beast has a seat, and it consumed all the other beasts of this earth, but this particular beast still remains. But it has a woman steering this beast now. What influence? What influence in Rome? What influence sits in Rome that steers the whole country? Well, let's look at this. Let me see if I could pull it up. All right. See if I can find it. Vatican City. Vatican City. Now remember, the woman is a separate influence. It's the mother, right? Let's look at Vatican City. Vatican City is like 101 acres. But here's the most important thing you need to know about this city. This city is a independent city state. It's a micro state. So 121 acres of independent land. It's not a part of Rome. It just sits in Rome. It just sits in Rome. It's just in Rome. And of course, he basically controls everything. Look at what it says. Also known as the Vatican, the state became independent from Italy in 1929. How does 21 acres of land become independent from a whole country? Look what it says. And it is distinct territory under the full ownership, exclusive dominion, and sovereign authority and jurisdiction of the Holy See. What is the Holy See? It says the Holy See is called the See of Rome, is the jurisdiction of the Pope. There we go. In his role as the Bishop of Rome. So he not only is independent from Rome, Italy, but he is the Bishop of Rome and sits in Rome. It sits in Rome. So it says it includes the Apostolic Episcopal, blah, 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 Diocese of Rome, everything Roman Catholic. The Catholic Church is the sovereign city-state known as the Vatican City. So this is the jurisdiction. The Pope, the Holy See, it controls the Catholic Church all over the world. There's a Catholic Church wherever you see any United States embassy. There's a Catholic Church in every country all over the world. You can look it up. I don't want to go into so much Google historical documents and all of that stuff. I want to tell you so that way you can go and see for yourself. So who's the woman that sits in the beast? The beast is Rome. So if the beast is Rome, who sits independently in Rome, controlling Rome? The Bishop of Rome, which is the Pope, the Holy See, Vatican City. Very, very clear. Now, here's the interesting thing. Here's the interesting thing. It described it as coming out of coming out of the water. So I want to first make a clear understanding of that element, right? So the water in scripture represents people, or a multitude of people. So water represents, when it says the beast came out of the water represents a multitude of people. So let me see if I can find um that actual description here. All right, let's keep looking at this, right? Revelation 17. We saw that this Babylon sitting on the scarlet colored beast, that has the 7 heads and the 10 horns. And he says, and the beast that you saw was and is not and is ascended out of the bottomless pit and goes into perdition. They that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is and yet is, and there is the mind that has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. Now remember, the woman is sitting on the beast. The beast is the kingdom of Rome. The 7 mountains exist in Rome, and the woman sits on the 7 hills in Rome, the Catholic Church. Well, that sounds like a lot of description. So let's look at this description here. Look, the 7 hills of Rome. Matter of fact, Rome is called the city, or the Vatican is called the city that sits on 7 hills. I'm trying to see if I could pull up just a general. I don't like looking up religious groups because it seems a little biased. So I like looking up exactly geographical. So geographical evidence that in the heart of Rome, right here, there's 7 hills. The Vatican is right here, and the 7 hills is right here in Rome. it's even called the Vatican Hill. Is located across the river from the 7 hills of Rome. So the Vatican sits in Rome, which is called the 7 hills. The 7 hills of Rome. It's famous for that. Romulus, which is one of the first Roman emperors, which is mythified, meaning that they made him into like a myth legend. He was very instrumental in founding Rome, establishing Rome. Let me say that. So it says here, the 7 hills of Rome. So let's go back to the scriptures. It said that the woman sits in this beast, which is Rome. And it says that the 7 heads are the 7 mountains on which the woman sits. Right? Let's look at this. The 10 horns which you saw are the 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings for 1 hour with the beast. So there's still a development going on with Rome. She's polluting all the kings of the earth, but there's still a development in which these horns have to partake in this beast, in the presence of this beast. Look at what it says here in verse 15. Well, let me just continue to read. This is in verse 13. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength to the beast. So they're giving everything to the beast. They're not saying we're going to rule over here, we're going to rule over there. They're giving their authority to the beast. And then it says what this beast will do with this woman on it. These shall make war with the Lamb. Who's the Lamb? Messiah. The Lamb shall overcome them, because he's the master of masters and the kings of kings. They that are with him are called the chosen and the faithful. So Yah's people was with him. But he's making war with the Lamb, but he's also making war with his people. It says, he said to them, the waters that you saw where the whores sit are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. So this whore doesn't only sit on this beast, doesn't only sit on 7 hills. It says the great horde that sits upon many different people, nation, tongues, and people. So even though the Catholic Church, the Vatican City, sits in Rome, it's in control of every single country. I wanna pull this out real quick. I know this is a while ago, but I think it's pretty relevant. I think it's very relevant. Now the Pope meets with the. Let me see if I could pull this up over here. Now, when dealing with prophecy, you have to deal with a lot of historical government reflection because a lot of these revelations are manifestation of what the nations are doing. As we just read is telling us about Babylon, it's telling us about Persia, about Greece. Daniel chapter 8 starts to break down the conflict between Greece and Rome. Sorry, Persia and Greece, and how Greece was victorious, but then the Alexander the Great died. So these are all revelation of what's going on this earth. This is not a specific conversation about what Yah's people is doing. Yah's people is supposed to be following his word. Yah's people is supposed to be walking in the everlasting gospel. It's supposed to be fearing him, giving glory to him, worshiping him. But the nations, Yah's trying to reveal to us what the nations is doing, so that way we can know before time. So he says here, right, the woman that sits in Rome is the Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church, led by the Bishop of Rome, the lawless one that we read in Second Thessalonians chapter 2, the man of lawlessness. It was by this power in the Roman Empire that they became the Holy Roman Empire because of the Roman Church that dwelt there. When the Holy Roman Empire was there, all hell broke loose. And you can look that up yourself. But you can clearly see that this Roman Empire has become the Holy Roman Empire. And this Holy Roman Empire is still in Rome, sitting on many waters at the same time, controlling many aspects of this world's economy. Look at what it says here. Look what they call this man. Remember what we talked about in Second Thessalonians, how it says that he is a lawless one, but he exalts himself as Elohim and is worshipped as Elohim. Remember what Romans chapter 1 said. It said that they changed the truth into a lie, and they said, what did they say? In Romans chapter 1, that they worship the creature rather than the creator. Look at what they're calling this man. The Holy Father. It says the Holy Father responded to Cameron's plan by writing. What? Why are they? Why are they economics? Let me go back up. Britain's prime minister, a message to Britain prime minister from the Pope, material and spiritual warfare. He's teaching these governments about spiritual things. What are you talking about the prime minister of Britain for? So look at what it says here. Let me continue. They call him the Holy Father, first of all. It says this is the Pope's statement, every economic and political theory or action, the Pope explained, must set about providing each inhabitant of the planet with a minimum withal to live in dignity and freedom, with the possibility of supporting a family, education, children, praising Elohim, and praising God, their God, and developing one's own human potential. So he's giving advice to the Prime Minister of Britain. Let's look at this. Money and other political and economic means must serve, not rule, bearing in mind that in all a seemingly paradoxical way. So look at this. The G8 is holding its annual meeting in Northern Ireland. G8 summer is the most 8 powerful countries. There's probably more now, but that's what it was at that time. And he's going to meet with the 8 most powerful countries in the world in Ireland to explain to them what they need to do. Um, and one of those things is an aspect of revealing basically his religious ideologies, and including his religious ideologies when he meets with um, the kings of the earth. We clearly see this manifestation here. It says, whom the kings of the earth committed fornication. The kings of the earth commits fornication with Babylon, with this woman, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. So we looked up the 7 heads, we looked up the waters, we looked up the 7 hills of Rome. Why does it say the mother of harlots? Okay, so we have Mother Church in Wikipedia. Who's the Mother Church? It says the Christian Church is the mother in her functions. The Christian Church is the mother. Who are they referring to as the Christian Church? It says it may also refer to the primary church of the Christian denomination or diocese, a cathedral or a metropolitan church. It says the term has specific meanings within different Christian traditions. The Catholics refer to the Catholic Church as the Holy Mother Church. So it says this term is often used among Catholics as the Holy Mother Church. So the church is considered a mother because of all of his members, but not only all of his members. If you see here, you have the Anglican, you have the Methodist, you have the Apostolic, you have the Baptist. You have all these different denominations being referred to here as being an extension of the mother. So where is the wine coming from? The wine is coming from the mother and her daughters, the mother of harlots. The understanding, the indoctrination, the pollution, the wickedness that they have in their mind is not only being spread by them fornicating with the kings, but also by their daughters. Their daughters is the mother of the harlots. Their daughters are mixing with the government as well. And let me see if I could bring up all of these things. One thing I want us to remember is that the religious aspect of the government doesn't exist. There's supposed to be the separation of church and state. But we're starting to notice a lot more of interaction. The Pope has never left political influence. Matter of fact, the Pope came to the United States in order to tell Congress to make ethical laws or whatever that means. Of course, I know what it means, but whatever they meant by it. The Catholic Church has no right to stand in Congress to tell the government how to make laws. Now you're going to meet with all the prime ministers of all these different powerful countries to influence them to lean in the direction, to lean in the ethical direction that you have. The Roman Catholic Church, Vatican City, representing Rome. You know, it's it's not good. Let me see if I could pull up something here. Ah, never mind. I don't think I need to do that. So with that being said, let's go back to this, right? Let's go back to Revelation. Let's go back to Revelation 14. Let's go back to the second angel's message. So it says, Babylon is fallen, that great city. The Roman Catholic Church has fallen away, has been given over to a reprobate mind, has become lawless, has exalted itself as Elohim. Remember, it says that it was worshipped as Elohim. Why do I say that? Let me see if I could bring up this thing, because This is also very important for us to grasp as well. I know because this has been around for so long and it's been in our faces for so long, we don't necessarily recognize this confusing Babylonian pollution. we we ignore it because it's so passive. It's so confusing, especially if you're not reading, studying the scripture for yourself. The Holy Father, the Holy Father. Why is he referred to as Father? Scripture tells us that we have no Father, that we have one Father. Scripture tells us that Yah is our Father. This man is taking upon himself to call himself Father, the Roman Pontiff. Um, I'm not sure what else we could find on this. It's just crazy that, look at this. The Holy Father is referred to here in Wikipedia as God the Father, referring to Yah, right? God the Father in this, Trinity, blah, 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 blah. But then it says, and then it's also the name of the Catholic Pope. The name of the Catholic Pope. What did we read? Is there any other religion calling themselves the Holy Father? Is there any other religion of a man that teaches lawlessness, by the way, bearing the same title as the Father, as Yah, the Holy Father? Look at what it says here, Second Thessalonians. Remember what we read? It says there has to be a falling away first, that man of sin is revealed. Then it says, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Elohim or that is worshipped, so that he, as Elohim, sits in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim. How does he show himself that he is Elohim? How does he show himself that he's Elohim? Let me show you. Let's see. How does he show himself that he is Elohim? How does the Pope, the Catholic Church, because they have a bunch of fathers, but then they have this ultimate father, which is that man that's over everybody else, just like Nimrod. Even though Babylon was a kingdom of different people coming together to focus on the same agenda, you still had Nimrod as the king. So even though there's a bunch of people, that great city, a mass population of pollution going all over the nations, you still have this one position within this influence. And look what it says. The Catholic Church considers some sins to be so bad, only the Pope can forgive those who commit them. Until now, look at this. Francis have given temporary authority to some priests, including the one from Montgomery County. It's part of the Pope's year of mercy in the church. My goodness. My goodness. Let me open this up real quick. Pope Francis gives all priests permission to forgive the grave sin of abortion. Oh, this is good. I'm freestyling right now. He gives the permission. Any Catholic priest can grant forgiveness to a woman who have had abortion, says the Pope. All the other fathers are under this one father, right? The Holy Father. This is crazy. I wish to reinstate as firmly as I can that abortion is a grave sin since it puts an end to an innocent life, he wrote. In the same way, however, I can and must state that there is no sin that God's mercy cannot reach and wipe away when it finds a repentant heart seeking to be reconciled with the Father. It's interesting how he says there's no sin that God's mercy cannot reach, and he's referring to he himself forgiving your sin. He's not referring to Yah. He's referring to he himself and his other priests absolving It says, before the year of mercy, abortion was in the class of sins considered crimes, which required a higher authority than a priest to absolve. A woman might have to confess her sin to a bishop, for example, rather than her parish. Who said this? Who said they had to do this? Let's see what else we can find. This is what's going on around the world. Look at this. He's the Bishop of Rome. There's a United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. There's every nation. There's a conference or a collective group of dioceses all over the world. Confession is a human right. It's not Yah's right to forgive you. It's a human right. Wow. Wow. So when he says after confession, you guys have to understand that the doctrine of confession is not to confess your sins to Yah, but it's to go to the Catholic priest, go into that little box thing and confess your sins. So that's confession. Wow. So this is the lawlessness of a man, the man of lawlessness that shows himself, right? That he is Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim. This is the last days, guys. This is that power, that Roman power, that fourth beast that is there until the end. There's no more beast. If you notice, you read Daniel chapter 7, you're not going past Rome. Now, many nations have risen up, but Rome, you're not going to get another end time kingdom. This is the last kingdom. So to see in Revelation 17, Babylon, right? On her forehead was the mystery Babylon, the mother of harlots. We saw that she's Babylon because she makes all the nations join together with her wickedness, that it's a great nation, that she's the mother of harlots and refers to herself as the mother church, and that all these churches that Protestants protested against the mother church, meaning that they came out of their mother. And now they're coming back. They're continuing to perpetuate these doctrines to pollute all the nations. But specifically, this woman sits on this scarlet colored beast that has 7 heads and 10 horns. It sits on it. Now remember, Revelation chapter 13 says that the dragon gave it his seat. The seat that's on on this beast is what this woman is sitting on. And we saw that Vatican City sits in Rome, but it's not a part of Rome, but it's in Rome. It's like riding on top of Rome. And it's not only a part of Rome, but it sits upon many waters, which is controlling many nations all over the world. You want a little bit more proof? Revelation 12 gives us a little bit more proof of that this beast, this scarlet colored beast, is Rome. Of course, the devil, Satan, is utilizing these nations to perpetuate his own agenda, which is to destroy Yah's law, you destroy the faith of Yah, the fear of Yah, the glory of Yah, to destroy all of those things. Look at what it says here. It says, there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head crown of 12 stars. She being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. So you have another woman, a righteous woman. So you have this harlot, but then you have this righteous woman. What comes out of the mother of harlots? Other harlots. What comes out of this righteous woman? Look at what it says. There appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red or scarlet beast, having 7 heads and 10 horns, 7 crowns. Now we know that the dragon is Satan, yes. But who did Satan use right here to do this particular thing that we see here in verse 4? His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And it said the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered for to devour her child as soon as it was born. What nation, what kingdom, what earthly kingdom did the Satan use or utilize to try to devour the Messiah when he was born? It was the Roman Empire. It was King Herod that ordered the death of all the children 2 and under because he couldn't find the Messiah where he was born. It was Rome that tried to devour the man child. Look at what it says. She brought forth a man child who was to rule the nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto Elohim into his throne. You see that? So the woman, which represents Yah's covenant, and the child coming out of that covenant, and all of the children coming out from that covenant, versus this scarlet, this woman of pollution with her harlots polluting all the nations. Look at what it says. Even the dragon is wroth. Is wroth. Right here, verse 13. It says, and when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he was wroth. He persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. He attacked the covenant. And the reason why I say it's a covenant is because everybody has to be born through this covenant. Look at verse 17. The dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her children, which keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Yahushua Messiah. Keep the commandments of Elohim. Interesting thing is that the Catholic Church in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 is referred to as the man of lawlessness, but it says here that the remnant of this woman keeps the laws of Elohim. All right, so you're gonna see the opposition. You're gonna see the contrast. There's always two elements. So you have the everlasting good news, and then you have Babylon. You have the faithful city of Yah's people, and then you have that great city. You have she's making all nations drink of the wine of her fornication, and then you have this good news that's preached to them that dwell on the earth, every nation, kindred, tongues, and people. The Catholic Church has fallen away to the point where they have developed a great city, Vatican City, and consumed, have so much daughters spread out all over the world that they're able to give this polluted, diluted idea of Yah's word to the nations to drink. And not only is she able to pollute the inhabitants, she's also going to commit fornication, according to 17. She's also going to commit fornication with the kings of the earth, the governments, which I showed you guys. The governments of the earth, as well as the inhabitants, all the different religious groups and people all over are being drunk by her ideologies, her ideas, her doctrines. Many people think that they're teaching some type of, original doctrine when they're actually either teaching the truth or they're teaching a Babylonian idea. Now, Rome did not create the Babylonian idea. They just repackaged it, just like they repackaged the Greek idea and the Persian idea. They repackaged all these things and spread it out. So now you got the harlots, which are the Protestant churches, repackaging the Roman Catholic agenda and spreading it all over. You even have these pastors, these multi-million-dollar pastors praying over the presidents and all of that stuff, telling everybody vote Republican, vote Democrat, whatever they're telling people to vote. But they're getting real political, guys. But they all teach that same understanding that makes people drunk and that makes people lawless. Let's do away with his covenant. Let's do away with that woman. So nobody could be born in that covenant. Nobody could keep the commandments of Yah. Nobody can do this. Nobody can do that. Only Yah can do that. But then you come back around and give honor to a Catholic church that says, nah, I can do that. I can forgive sins. I can clean you up. We're going to talk about that as well. We're going to definitely talk about that. So the Babylon is the Roman Catholic Church. The great city is the multitude of people in that establishment all over the world that is able to assist in spreading these false doctrines, false ideas, false mindset to all the world and make them drunk. So the truth reveals the pollution. Not only does it reveal those who worship idols, those in these other religions, but it also reveals those who claim to follow scripture and do not. Those who claim to love God and do not. Those who claim these things and don't even know that they're drunk. This message is to reveal that to them. So that way they can turn back and say, wait a minute, if they're wrong, then what is the good news? If they're wrong, then if they don't fear Yah, what does it mean to fear Yah? If they're not giving glory to Yah and they're glorifying themselves, what does it mean to give glory to him? If they're worshiping the man of lawlessness, then what does it mean to worship him? It brings everybody back to the true understanding of this gospel, to develop Yah's kingdom. So I hope that this message was clear. I hope that it was simple. I try to make it as simple as possible, but there's so many difficult elements to this. So when we get to the next part may have to be broken down also into, because I don't want to leave people with so many questions. I do want to leave with some questions so that we can go back, study for yourself, and come back with the questions or confirmations or whatever it may be. So Babylon the Great is fallen, that great city that makes all nations drink of the wrath of her fornication. Understand that. Examine the things that you believe. Make sure that it lines up with Yah. Don't just give in to understanding because it sounds good. It sounds like it makes sense. But analyze and test all things to make sure that it's coming from Yah and not coming from this beast power. Okay? So I hope that this was clear. I hope that this was simple. If there was something that needed to be elaborated on, please let us know. We'll be happy to make another video breaking this down for you guys. I'm glad to see you guys join us again, and I look forward to studying with you guys in the future. Shalom, everyone. Shalom, shalom. Thank you guys for joining our study today. I hope that it was edifying. And if you want to support this ministry, you can support us on 4alc.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube page. Click the like button and the notification bell. I hope to see you guys on the next study. Shalom, guys.